What's up everybody? Ohmboyoc back here at Local Vape again for another build tutorial. Today we're going to be doing the staple Helix build. This is going to be a single coil build. It came out to 0.09 ohms, so you're not really going to want to dual this thing up unless you're running like a stack 26650 or something like that. But what you can see from this single coil is there's really no need to dual this coil out. Check out the vapor production. That's pretty angry little single coil there. So this build originated from Wire Theory actually on Instagram. We're going to put a link below in the description. That way you guys can check out her Instagram page and see. She's got a couple different variations of this build. It's definitely worth the time to go check out her page and see what she's got going on there. We're going to be doing this on Twisted Mess's new RDA. For a build of this size, you're going to need to do it on an RDA that's got some decent post holes. I believe 2.8 millimeter post holes are the specs on this RDA. And one good feature is also the cap. If I can get it off. The cap, as long as the build clears the deck, you can get the top cap on and it won't interfere. Let's give this thing a little try. So you're going to see it's really good vapor production for a single coil. Also, the flavor on this is, I've never had flavor come off a coil like this. This has by far been my favorite build to date. It takes a combination of what you're going to get as far as a warm, flavorful build off the staple coil, and also with twisted wire, the flavor you get off that, and it kind of combines the two builds into one, just very warm, very flavorful vape. So a little backstory on this build. Blue Eyed Goon 83 on Instagram, he was the first one to come up with this staggered type build. And then Squid Dude on Instagram as well, he came out with like the staggered fuse clapped in. And then he did the staggered fuse clapped in with ribbon in between the staggered portions of it. And then Wire Theory did a spin-off of his build, and she created the Helix staple coil. Really good build. It's going to take a little time, take a little practice to get this down, but hopefully we can knock it out in one try and get everybody out there building this. Alrighty, so this is what you're going to need for the build today. We're going to need some 26 gauge Anarchist A&80. We're going to be using 5 pieces of 0.5 ribbon wire. These are approximately 6 inches long. We're going to be using some 36 gauge Nichrome 80 from twistedmesses.com. We're going to be using 6 pieces of tape. Cut them about 1/8 inch by 1/2 inch. Should be fine. Obviously a drill. And then I got my little vape kit here, and I'll be using a set of side cutters out of it, the needle nose, and then my bits for wrapping the coil. And then also I'm using a articulating vise. You could use a stationary vise. It doesn't necessarily need to be articulating, but I found that this vise here does help when I wrap the coils. And then lastly, you're going to need some cotton. We're using Anarchist Japanese Organic. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take about 2 feet of 26 gauge Anarchist wire, and we're going to twist it up here on the drill. What I'll do is I'll just take the 2 ends here. 2 ends here just like this, and then fold them over. And then I'm going to insert those into the drill of the chuck. those inserted, get them nice and tight. And then what I'll do is make sure that these two wires here stay parallel to each other, like that. And then I'll take a screwdriver or pretty much whatever you got laying around, and you can put it in the other end just like this and pull it nice and tight. Just make sure those wires are parallel. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to twist this up, and you want to twist it up to the point to where right before the wires will start to get wavy. If you over twist it, you'll notice that there's a little wave in the wires, and you can't have that when you're doing this build. It's basically impossible to keep that ribbon straight next to it. So let's go ahead and give it a nice pull tight. And go ahead and start the twist. Start twisting that up. Go ahead and crank it up. And what you want to do is you want to leave your left hand, or whatever hand you're holding the bit in, you want to leave that a little loose and allow this wire to contract as it twists up on itself. Still keep a little tension on it though. So now it's getting to the point I can just tell to where it's really, really close to where it's going to start kinking on myself. We'll see if we can't zoom in and get a good shot of this. Go just a little more. And then what you're going to want to do is, if I let go of this right now, the recoil would mess up the wire. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in reverse while holding this. I'm going to give it a few spins in reverse. And that way, I should be able to let go and the wire won't kink up on itself. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this I got about 6 inches of ribbon wire, so I want to cut this just a little bit shorter than the ribbon wire. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it there. Take it out of the drill. And you want to make sure that the way that it comes out of the drill, that you keep them going the same way. So it was in the drill just like this. So I want to make sure that they're perfectly aligned. They're going the same direction. You don't want to flip that on yourself. Go ahead and cut the other end. And when you're cutting these, pay attention to the ends of them. If you don't have sharp cutters and it cuts and it leaves like a little burr on the end, that's going to be an issue. So you want to make sure it's a nice clean cut on both ends. That way when you put the ribbon wire in between, it doesn't bulge on it. So we'll go ahead and set these to the side. And we're going to get the 5 pieces of 0.5 ribbon wire. So I got 5 pieces here, 0.5 ribbon. And so the key to this build is all in the prep work. If you do a good job in the prep work, this build's going to turn out good. If your prep work on this build's sloppy, then the chances are that this ribbon's going to roll on you and you're not going to really be able to pull it off. So what I'll do is I'll take these 5 pieces of ribbon, like this. All right, so 5 pieces of ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and align these on themselves here. So what you want to do for stacking this ribbon is just give it a little pinch on the side and then a little pinch on the top. Just go ahead and squeeze it like that, run your fingers down the ribbon. And then what I'll do to make this ribbon stack a little easier is you can get a little water on your hand and just like that, get that ribbon a little wet, just like that. then what that's going to do is that's going to sandwich that ribbon on itself. So the first thing is going to be getting one end secured. So the first end of this ribbon wire, I'm going to make sure that it's perfectly aligned and it's stacked and it's going nice and straight. Just like that. And take your time with this and make sure that the ribbon's perfectly aligned. And I'll take a piece of tape here. I'm going to go ahead and apply that tape to that ribbon wire. And just make sure that you're supporting the wire really, really close to where you're taping it. So make sure your finger's really close to that taping point. And what I'll do is I'll wrap this around here. And this takes a few tries, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it tight with my nail. So kind of sandwiching that and pulling it over and sandwiching it at the same time. And once I get that going, that's nice and tight, then I can give it a few wraps. This really sucks to do if you have wet hands, moist hands. Okay, and then I want to make sure that ribbon's sitting vertically. I'm just going to go ahead and pinch it and make sure that it's sitting perfect. So once I get that end done, what I'll do is I'll take my hands, a little spit on there or whatever, a little water, and I'll straighten that ribbon out. Straighten it out all the way to the end. And I'll go to the other side. And I'll repeat that process for the other side. This side I'm going to lay the tape flat like that. I'm just going to pinch it over. Just like that. You can do that for the first side, but it doesn't matter. Then just pinch underneath it just like that.